Thanks for joining us today for our Survey123 for ArcGIS webinar. I've got a lot of great information to share with you today. My name is Susie Saliola and I work at the Esri Canada Education and Research Group. One of my responsibilities here is showing teachers and students how to use GIS in their teaching and learning. So let's get started. What is Survey123? Survey123 works on Windows, Apple, and Android devices, as well as desktops and web browsers. It's a form-centric data collection tool. What this means is that everything starts with you or your students creating a survey with questions that you want answered. Surveys, forms, polls, questionnaires are really just the same thing, a list of questions. Asking questions, however, is one of the most powerful methods of gathering information and learning about a topic. So what Survey123 has to offer a classroom is a new way to ask questions. Most traditional surveys or questionnaires are collected on paper, which can introduce errors and limitations in the types of analyses you can run. Survey123 allows you to transform paper forms into smart forms that run on mobile devices so that you can collect information about the world around you much more easily and interactively. Survey123 can also capture location information, which means that you can view your results on a map in ArcGIS Online. Some of you may be familiar with Collector for ArcGIS. One of the main differences between Collector and Survey123 is that Collector is map-centric, whereas Survey123 is form-centric. The first thing you see when you open the Survey123 app is the survey, whereas the first thing you see when you open the Collector app is the map. Survey123 is a great tool for students to engage in the inquiry process. It allows your students to formulate questions, go out and collect information, explore what's happening in the world around them, and analyze and act on the results back inside the classroom. You can create custom surveys that collect information about anything, from the location and types of trees in the schoolyard, to collecting information for a family tree project, to keeping track of your favorite parks in the neighborhood. Once your survey is published, there are two ways that it can be filled out. With Survey123, you can make your survey available on the web, so anyone with the URL can fill it out using their web browser on a desktop computer, tablet, or smartphone, and submit their information directly to you. Your students can open the survey on a browser, head outside, and begin collecting data. The second way you can fill out a survey is through the mobile field app, which is downloadable on almost any mobile device and available in your favorite app store. You do require an ArcGIS online organization account to author surveys. However, Survey123 allows anonymous access to your surveys. What this means is people without an ArcGIS online account can fill out and submit data to your publicly shared surveys. This is particularly useful for crowdsourcing projects, like asking parents, family members, or community members to fill out a survey. All survey data that are collected using Survey123 are immediately available online, so you can even monitor results in real time. Survey123 adds location information to your surveys by accessing the internal GPS unit in your device. You are even able to attach pictures and videos, which you can take on the spot. With Survey123's web-based survey designer, you can create your surveys with advanced logic, including drop-down menus, conditional questions, and required questions. Survey123 is currently limited to collecting points. What this means is when a survey is filled out and submitted, a point will appear on your map in ArcGIS Online. However, support for lines and polygons in Survey123 is planned for later on in 2017. It's a great tool for getting students actively engaged in generating and collecting data. The whole class can collaborate on the design of a survey, or they can build their own on different topics: wildlife in the community, nearby historic sites, features along their route to school, and so on. We're almost at the demonstration. Here's a brief overview of what we'll do next. We'll create a survey using the Survey123 web designer. You'll see how to create a new survey, add different types of questions, and publish it. We'll collect data by filling out our own survey using the web browser. We'll explore and analyze results in Survey123 and in ArcGIS Online. Lastly, we'll see how to act on our results by sharing them to an app or story map. To start the demo portion of this webinar, we're first going to take a look at a real Survey123 project being conducted by a teacher and his students. Mr. Mark Miller from David Suzuki Secondary School and his students have been using Survey123 to collect tree data on their school property. This here is the web app that they've built to showcase all of the data that they've collected so far. If you click on a point, you can see the types of questions that they've built into their survey. This is an excellent use of Survey123, and for this demo, we'll go through how you can create a similar project with your students. To create our first survey, we'll first start by going to arcgis.com and logging in with your ArcGIS organization account. I've already signed into mine. Once you sign in, you'll click on the apps icon beside your name, and it will bring up a list of apps that you can use. Here is where we can find Survey123. We'll click on it, and survey123.arcgis.com will open in another tab. You'll automatically be signed in, as the login for Survey123 is exactly the same as your ArcGIS online account. This is the main page where you can create, manage, and view the results of your surveys. This gallery shows all the surveys that you've created so far. To create a new survey, we'll click Create New Survey, and you'll see this pop up. You'll notice here that there are two ways to build a survey in Survey123, using the web designer or using Survey123 Connect. Survey123 Connect is a desktop tool that allows you to build more complex surveys. To build a survey this way, you would have to download Survey123 Connect, design your survey using an XLS form, then publish it. The other way to build a survey is to use the web designer, which offers a simple, powerful, web-based approach to building surveys without having to download anything. It's a great alternative to using the desktop tool, and it is frequently being updated to include more functionality, with the latest update being just a few weeks ago. So for this demonstration, we'll be using the web designer. Click on Get Started. Here we're presented with a pop-up where we can enter the name, tags, and a summary of our survey. We'll call ours Tree Inventory. Tags are keywords that describe your survey and make it easier to search for. So we could put our class, course code there, for example, if you want your students to find your survey. You can change the thumbnail by clicking on this icon and uploading a relevant image. And we'll click Create. Your survey will automatically open in the Design tab. The Design tab is where you will design your survey and add in all of your questions. On the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see a wide variety of question types that the web designer supports. You can begin adding questions into your survey by simply clicking on the question type, or you could also drag and drop them into the left-hand panel. So we've added in a date question. You'll see your question appear in the left panel. To make changes to this question's properties, we'll have to click on the question to activate the Edit tab on the right-hand side. Here we can make any necessary changes to the question, but also down here in Validation, we can also set constraints to better control user input and the quality of your data. As we continue to add more questions, you'll see that this tab looks slightly different for each question type. So let's fill out the properties for this question. The label for this one will be date. Hint, you can provide the user hints on how to fill out your question. So we could say today's date. The default value for this question, we will make the submitting date. Validation. This is where you can set constraints to better control user input. For this type of question, you can specify if you'd like to make this a required question, or you could also limit the answers to a certain date range. If you choose to make this a required question, the user will not be able to submit their survey without providing an answer to this question. So keep this in mind when you're designing your surveys. Other, if you select cache answers, this answer will be automatically populated the next time the same user fills out your survey. To add our next question, we'll go back to the Add tab, and we'll select another question type and drag and drop it into our survey, or just click on it. So we'll add a drop-down question. This kind of question provides a drop-down list of potential answers from which the user can select only one. So we'll name our question, Who is your teacher? The hint will be teacher name. When working with lists, you can either type out each choice manually, or if you're working with a longer list, you can click Batch Edit and copy and paste a predefined list. I've made a predefined list because we have a few options. Copy and paste and press OK, and it'll automatically populate in your survey. We'll go back to add, and we'll add in a couple more questions. Next, we'll add a number question. Number provides a question that allows the user to enter numerical values only. For this one, we'll call it tree tag. Hint will be number on the tag. Validation, we'll call this one a required question because it's really important that we know which tree we're talking about. We can also set this to be an integer. You also have the option here to set a minimum and maximum value. You can save periodically as you're designing your survey by clicking save at the bottom of the screen. We'll go back to add, and we'll add in a single choice. Single choice is similar to drop-down, but it provides a list of potential answers from which the user selects only one. So instead of a drop-down menu, it's bullets. We'll call this one, is the tree alive or dead? Again, we'll do batch edit because we have a few options that I've prepared. We'll press OK, and it populates. And back to add and selecting multiple choice. Multiple choice provides a list of potential answers from which the user can select any number. we'll go back to batch edit and we'll copy and paste these reasons. This is actually a good opportunity to show how to go back and change a question that we've made a mistake in. This should have said alive, dead, or unsure. To change these, we'll click these minus buttons and we'll get rid of our options and we'll change. We'll go back to alive, dead, we'll add in one more, and we'll say unsure. And we'll click save because we've made some edits. Here's an example of when we might want some more information based on the answer to this question. If a student says that the tree that they're looking at is dead, we might want to know why. Here's where we can incorporate some advanced logic into our survey. If the student says that the tree is alive in question 4, we don't need them to answer question 5. So we want to set a rule that states that this question appears only if the student says that the tree they're looking at is dead. So to do this, we click on the response that this question is dependent on, question 4, and click on this little button called Set Rule. This pop-up will appear that says show selected questions only if the answer to this question is a specific choice. So we'll select if the answer to this question is dead, show why is the tree dead, and we'll press OK. And you'll see here that the rule is set. We'll go back and we'll add in a couple more questions. We'll add in image. So you'll see here when I clicked on image, the image question added in the middle. You can reorganize your survey by dragging and dropping. We'll call this one photo. This image question provides a question that allows a user to upload a photo or video. We'll add in a rating question. We'll call this one, are you having fun? You can style this question as icons, stars, hearts, or thumbs up, or even labels, strongly agree, disagree, etc. For now, we'll pick icon, the maximum value will be 5, and we'll click stars. We'll go back and we'll add our last question, which is the geopoint question. This question provides a map for the user to select a location that will display in ArcGIS Online. So if you'd like your survey to capture a location, you would use this question. We'll label this one tree location. You can choose a default base map that will appear when the user opens this map. So we'll leave ours at topographic, and you can also set a home location by zooming in to the area that you'll be collecting in so that your user does not have to do this on their mobile device. So we'll just place it somewhere over here and we'll click save. So once we're done adding questions, we can preview our survey by clicking preview. Here we can see what our survey will look like on different devices. The first one shows us what it looks like on a desktop or cell phone or tablet. If we're okay with the look of our survey and we're satisfied, we can select publish and publish. Publish successfully. So before we start collecting data, we'll have to specify who will have permission to submit data to our survey and who will be able to see the results of our survey. To do this, we'll click on the Collaborate tab, and you'll see in red that currently no one except you can submit data to your survey. If you want to keep your survey secure, you can share it with a specific group within your organization. For instance, you can create a group for your class and share the survey only to that class. You can also choose to make your survey public, so anyone with the link can fill out the survey, even those without an ArcGIS Online account. Once you've chosen who can submit, you can use this QR code or the survey link to promote your survey via email or social media, or even embed it in a website. For this demonstration, we're going to click public and also share it to the Survey123 group so it's a little bit easier to find. You'll see at the bottom of this page that we're presented with some options. Surveys created in the Survey123 web designer can be filled out in 2 ways, in the web browser or in the Survey123 field app. You're presented with options for what you want to happen when someone visits this survey link. You can specify if you want the survey to open in a browser directly, or in the field app directly, or give the user the choice if they already happen to have the field app downloaded on their device. For now, we recommend using the web browser to have users submit to your survey. The look is a little bit cleaner and it's easier to add photos, and the survey will look the same on all devices. Your respondents will not have to download any extra apps to fill out your survey, so keep this in mind if you're designing a survey that you'll be sending to community members or parents. Of course, the Field app works great, and you are more than welcome to use the app with your students. The good thing about the app is that you can go back and edit surveys that you've already submitted right in the app. So for this demo, we'll choose Open Survey in browser directly, and we'll click Save. Now that our survey is published and shared, we want to edit the settings so that our students can also see the results of the survey in real time. We'll click on this Analyze tab, and here we'll specify who can view the results of our survey. You'll see that sharing results with the public is not yet available, but that it is coming soon. So we'll choose the following groups, Survey123. What this means is that everyone in this group will be able to monitor and see the results of our survey. Once this saves, we'll be ready to start collecting data. So we can access our survey using the survey link. If you click on the share icon at the top, click on your survey link at the top, this is what you can send out to anyone you want to fill out your survey. You can send it to students, parents, other teachers, community members. So we'll begin by filling out the survey ourselves and answering the questions. So we'll leave today's date. Who is our teacher? It will be Mr. Jones, tree tag 54. As you fill out the survey, you'll see the rule that we set on question 4 and 5. If we were to select dead as the answer to question 4, question 5 appears. If we were to select alive, it disappears. So we'll select dead and we'll select a couple of these. You can add a photo by clicking on the button and uploading a photo. Because we're on a computer, we don't have access to a live camera, so we'll just upload a photo that we took in the field. If you were filling this survey out on a browser, on your smartphone for example, you'd be able to access your camera and take a photo on the spot. And we'll say that we're having tons of fun. When you select set location, you have the option to use your device's location. You can also type in an address or you can pan around. So we'll use our device's location and it should place us somewhere near the Esri Canada office. Once we're done, we'll click submit. And that was it. So now that we've learned how to create and submit to our survey, we'll see how we can view the results. So we'll go back to Survey123 and click My Surveys. Now you'll see that we have our surveys here and we have one new record, which is the one that we just filled out. To do some deeper analysis, we can click on this chart icon, which brings us to the Analyze tab. This is where you can see the results of your survey, and you could even see how each user answered each question. Since we only have one record in the survey, you can't see the full capabilities of this page. So what I've done is I pre-created a survey with the same questions so that we can see the full capabilities. We'll go back to My Surveys and open the survey that I pre-created and go to the Analyze tab. As you scroll through, you can see how each question has different options to view the data. So for example, the question, who is your teacher? You can view the results of this question by column chart or bar chart or pie or even a map. If you click on the legend, you can see that it's symbolized based on how the user answered this question. So all of the red dots were students from Mr. Leaf's class. This page also provides summary statistics like counts and percentages, which you can incorporate into your class or your lesson. So back when we were setting up the sharing properties of our survey, we indicated that everyone in our class group would be able to see the results of our survey. This is the page that they would have access to here. So both you and your students can use this page to explore your data further. To look at the data on a map, we'll go to the Data tab. You'll see all of our points here. If you click on a point, you can see the information for this individual response, including the photo, if they uploaded one. For example, here you can see who submitted it and the date and time that they submitted it. If you wish, you can download your data in a few different formats on the bottom right-hand corner of this tab. To do this, you would select the format that you would like, shapefile for example, and just hit download. This is also where you can take your data and bring it into ArcGIS Online, where you can run some more analyses. To do this, you would click Open in ArcGIS Map Viewer. Your survey results automatically open in a map. Here, you can change the name of your layer by clicking on the 3 dots and hitting Rename, changing it to something more meaningful, Tree Data, and press OK. If you click on the Attribute Table icon, you can see all the data submitted to your survey is here. And if you click on each point, you can see the data that is associated with it. You can change the look and feel of your map by clicking on the Change Style icon, which is right here. Under Choose an Attribute to Show, you can choose to show your data by location only, which is what is here now, or by a specific attribute. So if we choose, is the tree alive or dead, we can display our points based on how the users answered this question. If we go to Legend, we can see all of the red dots represent trees that are alive, the blue dots represent trees that are dead. From here, you can click on the Add Data button to search for and bring in other primary sources like census data to further analyze the results of your survey. Once we're satisfied with the look of our map, we can click here to save our map with a relevant title and tags. From here, you can share your results in a few different ways. You can leave it as a map, or you can get creative and even share it as an app or story map. So if we go to Share, Create Web App, you have access to all of these templates. Our demo is now complete. As we wrap up this webinar, keep these points in mind when you're planning a data collection project using Survey123. Everything starts by logging into your ArcGIS.com account. From there, you can access the Survey123 web designer to create your survey. Published surveys can be filled out on a web browser or in the Survey123 field app on almost any mobile device. Once you've collected your data, you can share results using apps or story maps. Survey123 is being updated frequently, so make sure to keep an eye out for new updates. If you're looking for inspiration on how you can use Survey123 in your classroom, I encourage you to read more about Mark Miller. His classes have been using Survey123 to collect tree data on their school property, and he has plans to incorporate it in his grade 9 Changing Populations unit. You can read more about how he uses GIS in his classroom on our blog. Thanks for tuning in, enjoy the rest of your week, and happy mapping.